Mr. President.
Senator from Connecticut, Marine Corps Senator from Connecticut, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. I'm honored and proud to be here today with the presiding officer in the chair, a veteran, albeit of the Navy, not the Marine Corps, but accompanied by a fellow Marine, Senator Sullivan, to whom I will yield shortly. Especially honored to pay tribute to one of the nation's most storied and steadfast institutions in the history, the entire history of our nation, the United States Marine Corps, which marks its 250th anniversary on Monday. As legend and history have it, 250 years ago in the back room of Tun Tavern in Philadelphia, a new fighting force was born, a force of grit, determination, and unshakable loyalty. Since that day in 1775, Marines have answered every call without any exception with courage and conviction, not because it was easy, but because it was right. The motto of the Marine Corps, Semper Fidelis, always faithful, is more than just a phrase. It is a lifelong commitment, and as we know, there are no former Marines, there are no ex-Marines. It is a lifelong commitment and identity. Semper Fidelis speaks to the bond between Marines, to the cause they serve and to the nation that they protect. That bond by no means ends with active duty. It continues in communities across America where Marines continue to serve, living out the values of America as teachers, first responders, public servants, and leaders. The Marine Corps has fought in every American conflict, from the Revolutionary War to the War on Terror on the beaches of Iwo Jima, to the frozen mountains of Korea, in the jungles of Vietnam, and in the sands of Fallujah. Marines have stood their ground. They have led from the front, often at great personal cost, with no expectation of glory. Telling the story of America is impossible without telling the story of the United States Marine Corps. Their sacrifices have safeguarded our freedom. Their discipline has inspired generations. Their traditions of toughness, honor, duty have stood the test of time. Historic battles exemplified the Marine Corps' unyielding commitment to courage, sacrifice, and duty, and they define the very character of our military. Derna, Chapultepec, First Bull Run, Belleau Wood, Guadalcanal, Tarawa, Peleliu, Iwo Jima, Okinawa, the Chosin Reservoir, Khe Sanh, Hue, the liberation of Kuwait, Fallujah, and Helmand Province. Marines have not only fought our wars, they have also responded to humanitarian crises, assisted in natural disasters, and stood sentry in times of peace. They are not just war fighters, they are ambassadors of American resolve and resilience. This milestone, 250 years, is an opportunity to reflect, to honor, and to recommit. We honor the thousands of Marines who never made it home, who gave their last full measure of devotion, as the saying goes. We honor the Gold Star families who carry their memory every single day. We honor the wounded in body and some in spirit, whose lives are forever shaped by their service. We honor every Marine, past and present, who has earned the title with sweat, sacrifice, and a fierce sense of purpose. Let me acknowledge as well the families who stand behind every Marine, spouses, children, parents. They serve quietly, often without any recognition, but always with deep devotion. Their strength sustains the Corps, those families and friends and loved ones. Their sacrifices, too, must be honored. Mr. President, the 250th anniversary is not only a celebration, it's a solemn reminder we make to all who wear the Eagle, Globe, and Anchor that we will never forget their service, and we will always fight to give them the support, care, and respect they've earned. This milestone is a chance to educate future generations about what it means to serve and why the Marine Corps' legacy matters, not just in history books, but in the daily defense of our democracy and our ideals. The world has never been more dangerous and more in need of that service. As we look to the next 250 years of the greatest nation in the history of the world, let's ensure that our policies, our resources, our commitments match the trust we place in all of our military, including our United States Marines. We need to provide our Marines and our military men and women with the tools and the resources they need to fight and win, and the care they deserve when they return home. It's not about the rhetoric or just the celebration of birthdays. What really matters is what we do between the birthdays to keep faith with our men and women in uniform, and afterward, when they return to our great nation, we can leave no veteran behind in healthcare, as well as education, training, and everything they need to be successful when they come back. Let us rededicate ourselves to the ideals they uphold: freedom, justice, service above self. To every Marine, from the youngest recruit in Parris Island or San Diego to the oldest veteran in our communities, we say thank you. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your sacrifice. Thank you for never wavering as a Marine. Happy birthday, United States Marine Corps. Semper Fidelis. I am happy now to yield to my colleague and friend from Alaska and fellow Marine, United States Senator Dan Sullivan.
Mr. President.
Colonel of Marines and Senator from Alaska, Semper Fi.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to thank my colleague, Senator Blumenthal, and the presiding officer for his great service as well. We do know the Marine Corps is part of the Department of the Navy, so we're all related here. I won't say what I used to say to my father, who was a Navy officer, but in response to that. But it is an honor to be on the Senate floor here with Senator Blumenthal, my colleague and fellow Marine. You know, there's a lot of frustration going on here in the Senate. We're trying to get this government reopened, pay our workers. People are suffering, but I do think it's also important to switch gears, come down here in a bipartisan fashion to pass Senate Resolution 124 by Senator Blumenthal and myself on commemorating the 250th anniversary of the United States Marine Corps, a truly remarkable milestone by one of America's most remarkable institutions. And that happens tomorrow on November 10th, our birthday, the Marine Corps birthday. Now, we Marines, Mr. President, you know this, take our November 10th birthday very seriously. No matter where Marines are, anywhere in the world, deployed, they always take time to celebrate the birthday of our beloved Corps on November 10th. Everybody in the Marine Corps wishes each other a happy birthday. We also are kind of proud of the fact that we're the only military service that was founded in a bar. Yes, that's true. Tun Tavern, Philadelphia, PA, was where the Marine Corps was founded. And at our birthday celebrations, we do a lot. They're great celebrations. If you haven't been to one, anyone watching, I encourage you to go to a Marine Corps birthday ball. You will have the time of your life. You will come away filled with a sense of patriotism and pride, whether you served in the military, in the Marine Corps, or not. You will love it. At these birthday celebrations, we, of course, as Senator Blumenthal mentioned, remember our fallen. We recommit ourselves to keep the Marines the world's finest fighting force, which it is and has been for decades. And we take time to recognize not just the Marines present, but the in particular the oldest and youngest Marines present. We have a very solemn cake-cutting ceremony. In fact, after the birthday cake is cut, with the Mamluk sword, the guest of honor presents the first piece of cake to the oldest Marine present, and then he hands that piece of cake off after he takes a bite to the youngest Marine present, signifying the passing of heritage and culture and tradition from one generation to the other. Now, Mr. President, last night there were two special Marine Corps balls that I cared a lot about. One, the one I really cared about, was in Anchorage, Alaska, hosted by Delta Company, 4th Law Enforcement Battalion. I was very honored and set to be there as the guest of honor last night. This is an Alaska Marine Corps ball. We have such a great time. I've been going to that ball for years with my wife, my daughters, friends, fellow Marines. And alas, given the work that we're doing here in the Senate to reopen the government, I was not able to attend. A huge disappointment for me. Really, really wanted to be in Alaska with my fellow Marines and my family. There was also another Marine Corps ball, Mr. President, last night. It was actually in D.C. here, the Commandant's Ball. And at the last minute, I thought, hey, if I can't be in Anchorage, I'm going to at least celebrate the 250th with the Commandant, some top generals, top enlisted Marines, a couple of my Senate colleagues, Senator Ernst, Senator Daines. The Vice President, J.D. Vance, was the guest of honor. By the way, Mr. President, he's the first Marine Vice President ever, so got a lot of shouts and recognition last night. But the Marine who stole the show last night, Mr. President, was the oldest Marine, Corporal Nels Mokler, 99 years old, born in 1926, Iwo Jima combat Marine, D1, looking as strong as he did when he was an 18-year-old corporal storming the beaches of Iwo Jima last night. He was there. The place went nuts when he was recognized. A 5-minute standing ovation for this great American hero. What a moment. Finally, Mr. President, at every Marine Corps birthday ball throughout the world for the last 100 years, this message that I'm going to read right now is read. It's the message delivered to the Marines on the birthday of the Marine Corps by the Commandant of the Marine Corps, the 13th Commandant of the Marine Corps, General Jean Lejeune, in 1921. And he issued this statement, this message, and ever since then, since 1921, every single Marine Corps birthday celebration for over 100 years has been read, has had this proclamation read. It was read last night in Anchorage. It was read last night in D.C. And for the Marine Corps balls today and tomorrow on November 10th, it'll be read there. And here's what it says, Mr. President. Remember, this is from 1921, but it kind of gives you the sense of how we feel about our illustrious Corps. A message from the Commandant of the Marine Corps, republished in the United States Marine Corps Manual, edition 1921. On November 10th, 1775, a Corps of Marines was created by a resolution of the Continental Congress. Since that date, many thousand men have borne the name Marine. In memory of them, it is fitting that we who are Marines should commemorate the birthday of our Corps by calling to mind the glories of its long and illustrious history. The record of our Corps is one which will bear comparison with that of the most famous military organizations in the world's history. During 90 of the 146 years of its existence, the Marine Corps has been in action against the nation's foes. From the Battle of Trenton to the Argonne, Marines have won foremost honors in war, and in the long eras of tranquility at home, generation after generation of Marines have grown gray in war in both hemispheres and in every corner of the 7 seas, that our country and its citizens might enjoy peace and security. In every battle and skirmish since the birth of our Corps, Marines have acquitted themselves with the greatest distinction, winning new honors on each occasion until the term Marine has come to signify all that is highest in the military efficiency and soldierly virtue. This high name of distinction and soldierly repute we who are Marines today have received from those who preceded us in the Corps. With it, we also receive from them the eternal spirit which has animated our Corps from generation to generation and has been the distinguishing mark of the Marines in every age. So long as that spirit continues to flourish, Marines will be found equal to every emergency in the future, as they have been in the past, and the men of our nation will regard us as worthy successors to the long line of illustrious men who have served as soldiers of the sea since the founding of the Corps. Mr. President, you've heard that before. That's the message for the Marine Corps birthday from the Commandant of the Marine Corps, Jean Lejeune, issued in 1921. And every Marine hears this every year, and it's still incredibly relevant. So I want to thank Senator Blumenthal again for leading this effort on the 250th birthday resolution that we're going to pass here in the Senate in commemoration of the Marine Corps' founding. We have a long tradition of being the service that's most ready when our nation is least ready. And again, to all the Marines out there, Semper Fi, happy birthday, and here's to 250 more years for our Corps. I yield the floor.
President.
Senator from Connecticut.
Thank you, Mr. President. I thank my colleague from Alaska for those very powerful words from himself and the Commandant. And as he has remarked, this Marine Corps birthday always has enormous personal meaning for all of us who have served in the United States Marine Corps, including for my son, Matthew, who was in Helmand Province. I'm hopeful that he will invite his younger brother to one of the Marine Corps balls. Michael served as a Navy SEAL, and this occasion is joined by our colleagues, Senators Gallego and Young, also Marines, and I'm sure is supported by others in this body, in the House of Representatives who have served. So on this great occasion, I ask unanimous consent that the Committee on Armed Services be discharged from further consideration of S. Resolution 124 and the Senate proceed to its immediate consideration.
Senate Resolution 124, recognizing the 250th anniversary of the United States Marine Corps.
Is there objection to proceeding to the measure? Without objection, the committee is discharged, and the Senate will proceed.
Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent the resolution be agreed to, the Blumenthal amendment to the preamble, which is at the desk, be considered and agreed to, the preamble as amended be agreed to, and that the motion to reconsider be considered made and laid upon the table with no intervening action or debate.
Is there objection? Without objection.
Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the floor.
Majority Whip,
Thank you, Mr. President. I ask unanimous consent that the Senate stand in recess until 6 p.m.
without objection.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yield the floor.
Senate stands in recess till 6 p.m.